My name is Ethan. I'm 30 and a part-time worker. While people my age are getting married or promoted, climbing the ladder of life, I'm still on the same step. I know they look down on me as pitiful, but I'm actually satisfied with my life. If you put in the shifts, being a part-time worker can sustain a man living alone. I haven't had a girlfriend for years, and I don't have many friends to talk to at bars, but I'm not struggling. Also, I have a hobby, chess, and I often spend my days off at the chess club. So, you see, I'm actually quite busy in my own way. I don't find this lifestyle lonely. In fact, I'd like to live this way for the rest of my life. I thought I didn't want anything more. My life, however, takes an unexpected turn. It happened on a weekday off. While I was at the chess club, playing games and chatting with friends during breaks, we were watching a TV show. While watching a familiar celebrity doing a food review on TV, John, who is 4 years older, said to me,
"By the way, there's a new restaurant near the station. They're hiring opening staff, and there's even a chance to be promoted to full-time."
"Really?" John went on to say to me, who was not very interested.
"The pay's pretty good."
"Oh, really?"
"What's with you? Aren't you the one who was complaining about the low wages at your current job?"
"True, both the convenience store and the video rental shop where I work pay minimum wage. I sometimes wish the pay were better, but honestly, learning new things feels daunting, and realistically, I wasn't planning on changing jobs. No, I was just complaining. I'm not seriously looking, and a restaurant job's not for me."
"Why not?"
"Well, you know, the restaurant would never hire such a 30-year-old part-time worker like me."
"But you know."
"John and I have been friends for over 5 years, and we're particularly close at the chess club. He knows me well, which is why he speaks to me like this." I appreciated his feelings, but had no intention of accepting his suggestion. "It's okay. I'm fine with my current job." I cut off John and went to watch other friends' games. However, a week later, I ended up interviewing at that restaurant. Because John had taken my resume there without telling me. I couldn't believe someone else had given out my resume at first, but since an interview was scheduled, I couldn't just skip it. Having been an interviewer at my current job, I know how annoying cancellations are. And deep down, I think I was actually curious about the restaurant. Because it meant something special to me. On the day of the interview, I put on a suit I hadn't worn for years from the back of my closet, and headed to the restaurant, feeling a bit nervous. The man who greeted me was around my age, dressed in an expensive suit. He looked me over as if sizing me up, then smirked condescendingly. Man, he seems pretty unpleasant. Despite feeling uneasy inside, I tried not to dwell on it too much since I was the one being interviewed.
"This is just for a part-time job, but you're pretty old, huh? How old are you? Juggling jobs at a convenience store and a video store. Are you some kind of failed musician? Pretty sad at your age, huh?"
Even if he's the interviewer, I didn't expect him to talk to me like this. From his attire, he appeared more like a corporate executive rather than someone involved in cooking, and to be honest, I was quite annoyed. I managed to get by with as polite a smile as I could muster. But I shouldn't have to work under someone so arrogant. Actually, a few days ago, John and I came here to check it out, and the official opening hadn't happened yet, but there was a pre-opening event. And the food I had then was truly exceptional, unforgettable. Even if they's a somewhat arrogant boss, I'd like to meet the person who cooked that food. I want to work under them. That was the feeling sprouting inside me, and somehow I managed to endure.
You seem pretty motivated.
The interviewer said so. Even I was surprised. I wasn't supposed to be keen. I only came because John submitted my resume for me. Indeed, I found myself very interested in this restaurant. And apparently, it showed enough for the interviewer to notice. I was somehow pleased to realize that might be true. For the first time today, I felt like I was expressing my genuine feelings. Then the interviewer said,
Kind of painful, isn't it? An almost 30 getting serious is just sad. Makes you want to say dreaming is a waste of time.
He continued talking.
Even if you're a part-time worker, thinking you're lucky to get a full-time job at a fancy restaurant as a chef from this might be your plan. But that's not happening. There's a lot to learn, and cooking requires knowledge and skills. Looking at your resume, you only finished high school, right? Honestly, with such a low level of education, we can't trust you with our cooking. I mean, no restaurant would hire you. Maybe try to work at some rundown bar.
After saying all this, the interviewer dropped my resume on the floor and stepped on it. True, I started working part-time right after high school because we didn't have much money, being a single-parent family. I admit I'm not highly educated, but do I really deserve to be insulted like this? Maybe it was foolish to think I could work at a restaurant. As these two thoughts clashed, I was at a loss for what to do next. Then the door opened with a click, and a man about 20 years older than me entered.
Sorry I'm late.
He was dressed in chef's attire, so I knew he was someone who worked with food, unlike the previous interviewer.
I'm David, the head chef. Nice to meet you.
The man, David, said this with a smile, and I felt the previously tense atmosphere lighten. Nice to meet you, too. I felt a sense of relief deep down. Then the interviewer said with a laugh,
Wait, David, were you supposed to come in for the interview today? Then I guess I wasn't needed. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. This guy's not getting hired.
Not hired? I guess it's no surprise. I can't agree with his attitude, but it's probably just how it is. Just then,
I'm sure you promised that the employees would come in for an interview, but that you would leave the hiring decisions to me in the actual field.
David, likely in his 50s, chose his words very carefully, and just from that, I could tell he was a man of high character. The interviewer was still sitting back arrogantly.
I guess you'd end up with the same result. Being a low-educated 30-year-old part-time worker, hiring him would just be a waste of money and effort.
Whether he heard those words or not, David started looking through my resume. Then he asked a question.
You have 7 years of experience working in a restaurant after high school, right?
Yay, I saw that, but it's an unknown place, right? He was probably just washing dishes or something.
The interviewer dismissed. David ignored him and looked me straight in the eyes, clearly waiting for me to speak. That's when I finally opened up about a past I had sealed away. Yes, that's right. When I was young, my mom and I often went to a local restaurant. Though we only went a few times a year for special occasions, it became a precious place for us. After high school, while I was looking for a job, the head chef there, Luke, offered me a position, and I started working there at 18. I was just a kid who knew nothing, but Luke taught me everything from how to hold a knife over those 7 years. Yes, I trained under Luke, whom I adored, dreaming of one day opening my own place. But one day, I slipped and Luke caught the knife I dropped, injuring his arm so badly he couldn't move it anymore. A chef's arms are everything, yet I took that from him. Luke just laughed it off, saying it was about time anyway. But I couldn't forgive myself. His skills should have been preserved over someone like me. Since that day, I stopped cooking. I felt so guilty, I couldn't face him, and ran away. Maybe I really don't deserve to cook anymore. I couldn't help but come here because John pushed me, but I took Luke's arm and ran away, and there's no way I'm going to cook now. Talking about it out loud made me realize this. I'm sorry. It seems I shouldn't have come here. I came with half-hearted feelings, and I apologize for that. As I apologized, the interviewer said,
That's right. You're out of place here, spilling your sob story all of a sudden. What did you even come here for? Know your place and just go home.
I was about to leave the room, feeling the sting of his words. Then,
How do you think I knew that place was a restaurant just by the name?
indeed, the restaurant's name was very simple, could have been a cafe, yet he knew right away. You mean you knew the restaurant? I asked, suddenly realizing.
Exactly. That restaurant is my brother's place.
David revealed something unexpected. Luke's brother.
Yep, we don't really look alike, but the love for cooking definitely as strong between us brothers.
Feeling a connection to Luke, whom I thought I'd never see again, brought a tear to my eye. Here I am, running away, yet selfishly emotional about it. And I didn't know how to face David, his brother. Then, as I was overwhelmed with self-reproach, David said to me,
Don't be so hard on yourself anymore. Big bro is still maintaining cooking, so don't worry.
What?
That cooking fanatic wouldn't give up so easily. He's been rehabilitating hard, and though he's slowed down a bit, he's still running the restaurant with energy.
His words brought me a great deal of relief, and before I knew it, tears were falling down the cheeks of a grown man.
He talks about you quite often, wondering how you're doing, and if you're still cooking. It's up to you where you want to work, but I hope you'll show your face around sometime.
Those warm words were the last straw, and my tear ducts completely gave way. It was an emotional moment, hardly what you'd expect at a job interview. Then David added one more thing.
I always appreciate the support from our staff, but I'd be troubled if we let a highly capable person with 7 years of experience slip through our fingers. It would help if you could be a bit more discerning.
The interviewer, at a loss for words, clicked his tongue and left the room. Turning back to me, David said,
I'd like to work with you. Of course, the decision is yours.
A year later, I am working at David's restaurant. It turns out the food that John and I were so impressed with during our visit was indeed David's cooking, and I am learning the skills day by day through observation and practice. Convenience store and video store jobs. Weekends at the bar or chess club used to be my daily routine. I liked that kind of everyday, but now that I'm learning to cook, I feel like I'm much more looking forward to tomorrow. And above all, the beer tastes much better after work. I really owe a lot to David for changing my life like this, and to John for giving me that push.
I never thought I'd become drinking buddies with you.
Luke, you say that every time we drink. I had successfully reunited with Luke, and we'd become regular drinking partners. No matter how many times I apologized for the past, he didn't mind at all, and was just happy I came back, and that warmth has saved me over and over again. And now, I'm living days far more fulfilling than the contented ones I thought I had just a year ago. It seems I don't need to deceive myself about my happiness anymore. I don't think there could be anything happier than this.